going to make our picture look as if it is on a brick wall. So we have our name where we learned all of our different Photoshop techniques to create our letterings, right? We worked with different layer styles to create the inner shadow, the outer shadow, the stroke, the outline, all the above. So now we're actually going to put this on a brick wall and make it look like it is spray painted like you see there. So I'm going to first get a brick wall into my background. So I'm going to go to pexels.com. I'm going to look up brick wall. And you can find any brick wall that you want, but obviously we just want the brick wall. We don't want like a white brick wall, nothing too big, but something that just looks like a nice brick wall that's good and kind of small. So the one that I'm going to go with is, I think, this one here because it's got some paint on it. So I'll click free download. And then I'll drag that right to my Photoshop file. And voila, I have a brick wall. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some cool paint effects behind this to give it that spray painted look. So I'm going to actually go ahead and show you how to download some spray paint brushes. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to Google, and spray paint brushes give us a cool effect that makes it look more like spray paint. So I'll go to google.com. I'm going to type in free spray brushes Photoshop. And then you're going to see up here there should be Brush Easy, spray free brushes. Then there's a bunch. There's like spray splatter, there's some spray splatter down here. All right. So I'm actually going to go with this spray splatter. Now this is a little different than downloading a font. You're going to click on free download. Should take a couple minutes. Once that is done, you're going to see it up here in your downloads. I'm going to drag it to my desktop, and then I'm going to double click it so it makes it into a little blue folder there. I'm going to go back to Photoshop, and now I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to go to Brushes. Now you'll see I have a lot of brushes here. I'm going to actually, in this menu, I'm going to go to these 4 lines in the top right corner of the brush menu, right next to these little arrows. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to go to Import Brushes, and that's going to allow me to import the brushes I downloaded to Photoshop. So I click that, I go to my desktop, and I find the brush folder. There it is. And then I find the file, and I click Open. And you're going to notice a little folder pops up here. So now I have these cool spray paint brushes that I can use. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little spray paint, and then we're going to make this look like it's blended in. So we're going to actually add a new layer for our spray paint. You don't want to spray right on your letters. So I'm going to grab a plus sign that says Create New Layer. It's at the bottom of my Layers menu. I'm going to make sure that I have a paintbrush. Okay. I'm going to make sure my opacity is at about 100%. And now I'm going to choose my color. So I'm actually going to double click on this top swatch here on the left below my tools. So I'm over here. Double click. And I get like an eyedropper. And what's cool is I can hover over a color of my design and click on it. So I'm going to click on this blue, and it actually grabs the blue. So I'm going to click OK. Remember, our bracket keys help with the size. So now I can actually add some spray. So I just click, add some spray there. I might grab some orange. So if I double click on the swatch again, grab some orange. I can even add a new layer and put this maybe on top of my word. See how that looks? And it looks kind of weird. I like it behind the word. I'm going to delete that. Go back to my paint layer. Kind of add some paint behind that makes it look kind of cool, like a tag. See some drips coming through there. That looks pretty sweet. Might add some white in there. Some of that lighter color. There we go. I'm going to try a different brush. So I'm going to go Window, Brushes. Maybe there's another splat. There we go. I like that splatter. That's kind of got some extra drips in it. Grab that blue again. Yeah, that looks pretty sweet there. There we go. Get some extra drips going. Kind of like that. I'm going to add some white behind it, I think. So I'm going to grab, remember, we always want to grab the colors from our design here. Kind of like that. That looks pretty cool. It looks like I got some good drips coming in. We don't want too many drips. So now I have some spray and I have my name and I have this looking kind of like graffiti. Now we're going to actually make this blend together with the bricks. So once you have your paint layer done and you know it's the way you want it, we're going to merge it to our text layer. So I click my text layer in my layers menu. I hold shift, click on my paint layer, and I'm going to then go to layer and merge layers. So now it is one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend the Kramer or that name into my brick wall. So I'm going to use my layer style menu. So I'll double click next to the word Kramer. And this is really cool. If you see here, it says blend if, gray, red, green, we'll just leave it on gray. And if you take the underlying layer and you drag it to the right, then you drag the other side to the left, look, it gives it this kind of tag look. You can play around with both of those. It kind of gets it a little, I lose my shadows there. Lose too many on my highlights. And boom, that looks pretty good. Now I have my graffiti tag on the wall. So again, in this tutorial, we've learned how to add a brick wall. We've learned how to download spray paint brushes. We learned how to make a new layer and add some spray paint. And lastly, we learned how to use our layer styles and blend those layers together. Go ahead and get your layers blended and enjoy.